Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we are doing a little sit down. But if you're watching, if you clicked on from the title, it's titled Self-Care Sundays, but I'm not really doing the traditional self-care. This is a different version of self-care. This is a part of self-care that I think is overlooked when we talk about self-care Sundays and all that. We always focus on the physical aspects of self-care and the external, like getting massages and getting facials, getting our hair done, taking care of our hair, and getting our nails done, nails and toes and all that. And all that stuff is great. It's definitely needed, but you gotta do the internal work too. You can do all the extra stuff, the external stuff. I do it myself. I will never deny all of that. I think it's important that we actually take care of our inner as well as our outer. So first to start, I just wanted to say, for those who don't know, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but those who don't know, I recently graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, and in the future I hope to become a therapist and work with the youth, specifically Black youth, and I think that's something that the Black community needs. I am a big advocate for mental health care, not just because it's important, but because I've dealt with my own issues with mental health. I have dealt with anxiety for basically my whole life. I've had anxiety issues, and I wanted to create these self-care Sundays just so that we have a safe space and a place to where we can tap in and check on each other. Mental health, even though it is being talked about more, it's still so taboo, especially within the Black community. And it's so, I think, in order for us to destigmatize and remove these feelings toward mental health care, we have to actually own up to and realize that mental health care is not like what we think. Mental health care is literally taking care of yourself, your mind, your spirit, your soul, all of that. That all ties into it. And sometimes your mental is affected by the physical things that can happen as well. So, you know, it's making sure that when we do self-care that we're having a full body experience and we're taking care of the whole body and not just the physical aspects of our body. So with this introduction video, I really wanted to touch on how my self-care Sundays are going to look going forward. For me personally, I wouldn't say these are rules, but these are tools and things that have helped me in my journey to bettering myself and understanding myself a little bit more. I think it is important to, first and foremost, we have to understand that we as humans are flawed. We are flawed individuals. Nobody's perfect. Also, what comes with healing is that you're always going to be healing. Once you start, the only time you won't be healing is if you actively choose to stop participating in your healing. But even then, it's kind of hard to run from. It's kind of hard to run from. And it can be very rough and it can be very dark at times. It can be very triggering at times. But you have to stay focused on the end goal. You have to stay focused on, you know, what it is that you want to come out of and what you want on the other side of this journey. And it's not for the weak. It is not for the weak. Because there are some days where I absolutely could just shut the whole world out, but I give myself that space to experience that. But I always tell myself, don't stay there. If you don't want to have a negative outlook on life, you don't have to sit in that. You know, just let the feelings come, let them pass, and then move forward. So with all that being said, I did want to introduce to you guys some of the tools that I use that have helped me as I have embarked on this journey. I really started healing and working on becoming a better me kind of like once I got into adulthood for real, so like maybe like 2018. And gradually over time, the more I poured into it, the better results I got, honestly. And I think a lot of what people don't realize is it takes a lot of you work, and you got to be ready to do the work. Like, you really have to be ready to do the work, because you're going to be challenging yourself in ways that you haven't been challenged before. And sometimes it takes different events to trigger things, you know, to make you want to do this. But honestly, it's up to you. It's up to how much effort you want to put into it. But I know for me, what I want at the end of the day, I know that I have to put in the work. So, and I have to be willing to put in that sacrifice and actually do the work. It's not just gonna come to me. There's not no magical fairy that comes and sprinkles the dust on you in the night and everything's better. Like, you have to do the work for yourself. And once you understand that, and you remind yourself that, you definitely will see the benefits. And that doesn't mean bad things don't happen, because that's life. Bad things do happen, but it's the way that you respond to the bad things. It's the way that you move forward after the bad things. And that's basically what healing means to me. So I do want to say this is just a disclaimer. Everything that I talk about on this channel in regards to my beliefs of Self-Care Sunday is not coming from a professional standpoint. I am not a professional. I'm just speaking from my own experiences and what has worked for me. And I also want to be clear that what has worked for me may not work for you. And you know, this is not a one-size-fits-all. These are just my suggestions and what has helped me. You may find somebody else who has better suggestions, and that's what works for them. With this, you have to try everything. You have to be willing to be open-minded and open to a new way of thinking, a new way of living life, a new way of carrying yourself, a new way of showing up for yourself. It's very, very complex. And for those that decide to step along in this journey with me, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And I wish you the best of luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor. No, but seriously, I really do wish everyone the best in life, because life is hard. Life is hard, but I think life is a little less hard when you have community and you have support, whether it's from, you know, family, close friends, or just me from watching my videos. But I hope that in these videos you feel supported and you feel seen, and that this becomes a safe space where you can show up as yourself without judgment. And yes, that's another thing. This is a judgment-free zone. We do not judge each other. We're all growing and we're all learning. And one thing in life, you have to always be willing to be a student of what life has to offer. So yeah, so let's get into it. This is going to be a quick video, but I just wanted to touch on some of the things that I have used that have, throughout the years, that have helped me. One of the things that I frequently use is journals. I am such a big advocate for journals. I think everyone should have a journal, because I was someone that wasn't very open to sharing how I felt about things, about my experiences, about people. I'm not a very vulnerable person. I just started to be a little bit more vulnerable in my life within recent years. But for the most part, I am not vulnerable at all. And it is something that me personally, I have dealt with and struggled with. But I'm not saying that you have to lay all your cards on the table, but I think that you have to be able to show who you are in a sense. And that's why journaling is so important, because when I journal, I can be my complete self. And I do want to be clear, there are different ways to journal. I personally am a writer. I like to write. That's just my go-to. And I have many different journals. I have a journal for everything you could possibly think of. I have different journals for different reasons. And for me, that just helps me look at different areas in my life in a more focused way, so everything's just not in one place. I am an advocate for all different forms of journaling, whether it's writing. I know for another thing that I like to do is sometimes I like to make videos and I just like to talk about what's happening, obviously. So that's another thing that you can do. Some people make voice memos. And with writing journals, there are different types of journals you can get. So like there's like guided journals. I have a few guided journals that I write in. I also have just blank notebooks that I free write in. Whatever's on my mind, that's what I write about. Yeah, there's different journals, and then there's also different journal prompts that you can follow to write. Another thing that I have implemented in my life is that I use affirmations. Now, let me be clear. I could be better at things, and I am not saying that I am just this perfect robot that speaks the best all the time, or I speak highly all the time. There are times where I do say things that I shouldn't. I do things that I shouldn't. Like, I think that's just a part of being human. But I think the most important thing is when you become self-aware, you also hold yourself accountable. That was me holding myself accountable. There are times where I absolutely am a monster. And I'm not excusing that, but I do know how to hold myself accountable when I am wrong. And I think that's what journaling and this process does, is it forces you to hold yourself accountable and like I said previously, show up for yourself. So that's the main thing. With affirmation, there's many different ways you can affirm yourself on the daily. I know people that write affirmations on their mirror. I've done that. Sticky notes. Some people listen to affirmations like on YouTube. There's different ways you can affirm yourself on the daily. Like some people have like mantras and stuff that they say every day, and yeah, this is just from what I know in my experience of affirming yourself. They say the best time to say affirmations is when you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, and when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, and then also before you go to bed at night. So that may just be some things you want to incorporate into your routine. And also that ties into the way you talk to yourself. I have been someone that did a lot of self-depreciation in the past, and I still find myself doing it here and there, but I don't do it as much as I used to. And I think it's very important to speak highly of yourself at all times, even in your lowest moments, because I would rather know who I am or tell the world who I am rather than have the world tell me who I am. That is very important, is the way you talk to yourself, because when the way you talk to yourself, that feeds your subconscious. Also, I know this is a lost art within these generations, but I am such an advocate for reading. And I also like to write about what I read just to reassure me. And everything that I talk about, I'm gonna give you guys suggestions in the future of like different books and stuff like that, because I do want this to be a weekly adventure with you guys. So I'm going to, you know, give my suggestions on different things, and if you want to talk about them outside, or even if you want to leave a comment down below of like different suggestions, you know, you're more than welcome to. I also like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to a lot of self-help. Self-help is so weird to me, but I like to listen to a lot of positive podcasts. I like to hear what different people's perspective on different things as it pertains to like bettering yourself and just operating in life. Another thing is I like to listen to a lot of good music. And when I say, I don't want to say any music is bad, because, you know, that's a perception thing. But I like to be mindful of the music that I do take in, because some music is just rough. It's too rough for me. And so I recognize that, and I know what works for me. It may not work for everybody. Everybody may not like it, but I like to be mindful of the music I listen to and the stuff that they say in the songs. And that goes for old music, new music, all of that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll be knowing some of the songs because you can't avoid them. But I do like to be mindful of what I take in and what I feed my brain. If I'm listening to the twerk music, I want to be twerking. Like, I can't listen to it all the time. I want to be listening to other things. So, and that's basically the introduction to my self-care Sundays. I would like this to be something that you know, everybody really participates in. The thing about healing and mental health care, especially within the Black community and Black women, is that we have to create environments that allow us to be seen, and for good things, or, you know, we recognize that we're trying to better ourselves, we're trying to operate in a different way. And I think there's no monolith to Black people. There's no exact way to be Black. There's no exact way to, you know, show up in the world. But I think the main thing is that we have the ability to show up for ourselves. And one thing I really say, I say to myself every day, is if I have to wake up every day and choose who I want to be. And when I say that to say every day we have a choice and we have options. And, you know, if I want to show up in the world this way or that way, I need to make choices that align with that. And with that being said, sometimes that means that I can't be at every party, or I can't be at every function. Sometimes I have to take time to myself to pour back into myself. Sometimes I have to have a no phone day. I have to take time away from communicating with people. And on the flip side of that, there are days where I do need to be more social, and I need to make sure that I'm showing up for people, the people in my life. I'm working alongside you guys in this process. And one thing I realized being on this journey for like the past 5 years, it gets lonely. It gets very, very lonely. And I wish that I had more community when I first started. And unfortunately I didn't. But over time, I've created community, and I've been introduced to people that are on the same type of mindset that I'm on, and that I feel have shown up for me. And I appreciate that. I'm so appreciative for that, because it was lonely in the beginning. But I also do appreciate those moments of being lonely, because I had to take the time to know myself. You have to learn yourself, or figure out who you are. You have to figure out who you are before you can know what you're meant to do. You can't know what's meant for you, or know what's right and wrong for you if you don't even know who you are, at the bare minimum. Also, I think it's important to appreciate every experience, the good and the bad. You got to be willing to do that. You have to like really, 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 really be willing to do that, because life can really, I've seen people really get broken down by life. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about, and how I wanted to introduce this onto the channel. And like I said, you know, once you start healing, you'll never stop healing, but you'll be able to operate in life a different way. You'll be able to show up for yourself. You'll be able to show up in your relationships better. You'll be able to advocate for yourself and advocate in relationships and have better relationships with people. And yeah, I say all this as your big sis with a lot of love, or your little sis with a lot of love, because little sisters got wisdom too. So with that being said, I can't wait to start this journey with you guys. And with each episode, I want to definitely include a journal prompt, and I also want to either include like a song or a podcast episode of some sort, or a book recommendation. I would probably have that once we get started in the description box. But I do suggest that if you are going to take part in this journey with me, or you're interested, whenever you join in, please, please, please get a journal, or journal in some sort. And I do want to leave a journal prompt for everyone. And yeah, that will probably be right here. I'm gonna leave a journal prompt for you guys, and I'm gonna leave it in the description box. On that note, I love you guys, and I'm so excited for you guys to take part in this journey with me. And I wish you guys all the success and love and light. And I'm giving y'all a big virtual hug as you take on this journey, and I'll see you guys in the next Self-Care Sunday. Bye.